Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. Welcome to the QT Bible Study with Steve Leavitt, live quiet time Bible study we do every morning. So good Friday morning to you guys. I'm Steve Leavitt. I am a marriage and family counselor in Colorado Springs, now in South Texas for the winter. Back up to Colorado Springs in April. But I have a master's in counseling, but this is what we do. We do a live Bible study every morning. Dan Hall, good morning. Hi, Bridget on YouTube. Jennifer, Courtney, Kimberly, Blythe, good morning, good morning, good morning. TikTok, good morning to all you guys. Martha, Debbie, Tina. Good to see all you guys this morning. Hey, Janice. JJ and Jamie, somebody said good morning. I can't see your name. Just says Facebook user. So you might, whoever said morning, no picture. You can go up here to the blue link in the paragraph above. Click on where it says StreamYard.com/Facebook, and then click on the next button, and it gives me permission to see your name. So, hi, Jamie and Jessica. Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I still have a lot of mucus in my throat, sinuses, but I feel good, feel great. Start the marriage retreat tonight. Excited about that. Marty's feeling fine. Still some chest stuff. My father-in-law still has some chest stuff, and my mother-in-law actually ran a fever after a week of being away from COVID. Ran a fever yesterday, and she didn't feel great. So we're going to see how she wakes up feeling today. Hopefully better. It is retreat day. That's right. Hi, Sarah, Cheryl, Casey, Connie. We're getting more and more folks on YouTube, and you guys are all kind of joining in and visiting with each other. So y'all can see each other's comments, I think, over on YouTube. So that's cool. Hi, Heather and Stephanie. Alex, good to see you this morning. Sarah. Sarah's supposed to be at the coffee shop this morning, and she's not. So, all right, wakey, eggs and bakey. It's time to get up and get in the Word. So let's get going this morning. Genesis chapter 25. I bet everybody's kind of frozen this morning. Cold. It is cold for most of us this morning. Jamie says it's too cold to go to the coffee shop this morning. Hi, Lola. Good to see you. All right, Genesis chapter 25, we're going to see the death of Abraham, the lineage of Esau, Ishmael, and then we get to start watching the story of Isaac and Rebekah and their marriage and their life and their descendants. Remember, the lineage, the line of Abraham is going to go through Isaac, and we're going to see that lineage continue on with Jacob and Esau, the twin boys of Isaac and Rebekah. So Connie came over from TikTok. All right, to YouTube. All right, Connie, glad you're on YouTube. Most of the people, Connie, are on Facebook, the QT Bible Study with Steve Leavitt on Facebook, and they all talk and hang out and fellowship there. But YouTube is great. So we're building a group of people over on YouTube that are all fellowshipping. Y'all can't see each other's comments, but that's cool. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? I think we got enough folks here. So, I'm switching this morning. New Living Translation. I'm switching over. My dyslexia has just been really jacked up lately, and New King James Version doesn't work well for me to read when I'm having trouble with my brain. So I'm going to switch over to the New Living Translation, the NLT, just so you can follow along. The New Living Translation. Come on. It's the fuzzy thing. Anyway, New Living Translation. NLT. I'll be reading from that this morning. Hey, Justin. Good morning, brother. I almost came to see you yesterday, Justin. I may be over there today. I don't know. We'll see. I got to get some parts. Chapter 25 of Genesis, the death of Abraham. Now, Abraham married again. Remember, Sarah just died? Now, Abraham married again. Keturah was his new wife, and she bore him a bunch of kids. Whenever I read this, kind of pre-looking over it last night, I kind of read over it last night. Whenever I read that, I thought, I didn't know Abraham married again. I didn't even know that. I had never noticed that. I don't know why, but Sarah dies and Abraham marries again at 150 years old. He's 150 probably at this point. I think he lived to be 175 years old. So Abraham married again, and the brother was still active. He had a whole bunch of kids with his new wife at 150 years old. You go, Abraham. He still has vitality about him, I guess. So see all the kids he had. She bore him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, is that right? 8 or 10 kids. And if you look down through there, you see the descendants of Abraham through Keturah. Then we get to verse 5. Genesis. Yeah, he has a bunch. I know. I didn't know he remarried. I don't know how many times I've read this passage. It never has occurred to me. All right. Genesis chapter 25, verse 5. Abraham left everything he owned to his son Isaac. So he had all these kids, all these descendants, but he left everything he owned to Isaac because Isaac was firstborn, legitimate firstborn, and this was customary and right, and this is what God had said, and it was the right thing. So Abraham left everything he owned to his son Isaac before he died. He gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them off to the east away from Isaac. So he had all these other kids and apparently other concubines, which is not the way God designed it. It's supposed to be one man, one woman, but he had all these other kids either way. And I think he didn't want conflict. He wanted Isaac and all of Abraham's possessions and everything here to be here and to grow into the nation of Israel. So he had all these other kids and he gave them gifts, probably cattle and sheep and things like that. And he sent them away, way off over there. Go away, let Isaac and his lineage grow here the way God intended it to be. Abraham lived 175 years and he died a ripe old age. I guess so. Joining his ancestors in death. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave at Machpelah near Mamre in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite. So I think that's where Sarah was buried, right? So it's the same place. This one thing that he owned, this one piece of land that he owned. They buried him. An interesting note is we see that Isaac and Ishmael together buried their dad. There was conflict before. Sorry, it's really bright. Is that okay? There was conflict between these two before, but apparently they got along well enough to get together and bury their own. Good question, Cheryl. I don't think we did. Maybe I ended before we got there. That's what Sarah was saying yesterday, is that she wanted me to finish the last 4 verses yesterday. I was just going to pick up here, but the last 4 verses are basically that Rebekah comes to where Isaac is, and Isaac is all excited. Rebekah covers her face, and they go in the tents and get married. It does say, important part, let me back up. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Genesis 24, verses 62 through to the end of the chapter. In verse 67, and Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother's tent, and she became his wife, and he loved her very much, and she was a special comfort to him after the death of her mother. So I apologize that we didn't cover that, but basically it's her coming back and them getting married. So anyway, let's keep going on. 25 verse. Where did we get to there? Verse 10. Genesis 25, verse 10. This was the field of Abraham had purchased from the Hittites. Yeah, there you go. Where he had buried his wife Sarah. So yes, this is where Sarah was buried. They buried him with his wife Sarah. His boys buried him, Ishmael and Isaac. So they got along well enough to do that. After Abraham's death, God poured out rich blessing on Isaac, who settled near the Beer place in the Negev. All right. So in verse 12, Genesis 25:12, we see the descendants of Ishmael, right? This is the history of the descendants of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, through Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian servant. Here's the list by their names and clans of Ishmael's descendants. And then you can go down through there and see all the names. Go to verse 17. Ishmael finally died at the age of 137 and joined his ancestors in death. Ishmael's descendants were scattered across the country from Havilah to Shur, which is east of Egypt in the direction of Asher. The clan's descendants from Ishmael camped close to one another. So we're following the descendants of Ishmael just to kind of know who he is and where we're going there. So verse 19. Now, the birth of Jacob and Esau. Now we switch over to Isaac and what kind of happens with Isaac. All right. Verse 19, Genesis 25:19. This is the history of the family of Isaac, son of Abraham. When Isaac was 40 years old, he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean from Paddan Aram, and the sister of Laban. Isaac pleaded with the Lord to give Rebekah a child because she was childless. Sound familiar? Sound familiar to Sarah? Childless, barren, not having children. And Isaac pleaded with the Lord because she was childless. She wasn't having kids. They were having sex, they were married, but there was no kids. So the Lord answered Isaac's prayer, and his wife became pregnant with twins. I think down here it says that he was 60 years old when she became pregnant with twins. He was 60, so that would be 20 years. She was barren for 20 years, no children. They were married for 20 years before she had a kid. I often in premarital counseling, I'll kind of encourage my clients, hey, if you can wait 3, 4, 5, 6 years before you have kids, that'll give you a lot of time to create memories, to let the foundation concrete settle and dry. It'll solidify your marriage. Look, if God gives you a kid pregnancy on your honeymoon, then you roll with it. But if you have a choice and they're asking my opinion, wait a few years, wait 4, 5, 6 years, and just solidify your marriage. get the marriage good and strong, then we can add in kids, and then the family will probably roll a little bit better. That's pretty much how I counsel folks if they ask my opinion about when do we have kids. And it's pretty common. Most people wait 4 or 5 years before they have kids. Yeah. Well, God decided to wait 20 years with Rebekah. And whenever Isaac was 40 years old, let me see, verse 21, Isaac pleaded with the Lord. Got it. And she became pregnant with twins. Verse 22, Genesis 25, 22. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. So she went to ask the Lord about it. Why is this happening to me? She asked. What do you think that means? They struggled in her womb. While she was pregnant with these two kids, they struggled. It says they struggled in her womb. All right, pregnant ladies, Ashley, some of you, Sarah, some of you mamas, all you mamas, tell me what that means. They struggled in the womb. Does it mean they were just kicking and rolling around and fighting and punching? I don't know. What do you guys think? All right. So for whatever reason, they were struggling, fighting, rolling around, kicking inside of her womb. And she asked God, why is this happening to me? And the Lord told her, here's what the Lord said about these twins inside of her. The sons in your womb will become two rival nations. One nation will be stronger than the other. The descendants of your older son will serve the descendants of your younger son. And when the time came, by older and younger there, I'm assuming they mean the first one out and the second one out. The first one comes out, then the second one comes out. The older is the one that comes out first. And whenever the time came, the twins were born. The first was very red at birth. He was covered with so much hair that one would think that he was wearing a piece of clothing. Think about that. You'd think he's wearing a piece of clothing. He was covered with so much hair. This Esau is his name, so they called him Esau, which means red. He was very red. His skin pigment was very red, and he was covered with hair. What an ugly kid, probably. This guy must have been just a super ugly kid whenever he was born. Bright red and covered in hair. So they called him Esau. Is that right? Is that the Esau means red? Or no, hairy. I'm sorry. Esau means hairy. I think that's right. Somebody look at your notes. Jacob means red. I don't know. Somebody look at your notes. I think Esau means hairy. We'll see. Edom, they'll call him Edom later. Edom, Edom, which means red. That's right. So they called him Esau, and the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So Esau comes out. Esau's born, but Jacob ain't having it. He says, I'm coming out too, and he's got him by the heel. And that's what Jacob means, to grab by the heel, or to be kind of trickery or deception. That's what Jacob means. He's got him by the heel. And so he comes out right behind Esau, Jacob does. They call him Jacob. Then the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So they called him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old whenever the twins were born. Yeah, so he was 60. 20 years later, these twins were born finally. So we continue on in the story. As these boys grow up, we find out a little bit more about them. Edom is red. Yeah, we'll see that in a minute. I named my card on the back Edom because he's red after Told us that in 2020. Nice, Jennifer. Verse 27. As the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open field, a skillful hunter. This dude Esau, I'm digging this dude Esau. He's a hunter, and that's what he did. He hunted. That's what it was his life. He hunted. He gathered meat by way of hunting. While Jacob was the kind of person who liked to stay at home. I don't know what that really means. On his Atari, was he on his Xbox? Jacob, I don't know what that means. Maybe he was more inclined to, I don't know, take care of business, accounting, engineering, building stuff. Maybe he just liked to be at home doing more heady stuff, you think, while Jacob was out in the field hunting. One is, more rugged, I guess, than the other. Maybe helping mama. Well, that may be true because it says that later that Rebekah favored Jacob, the one that stayed at home. Rebekah favored Jacob for sure. Isaac loved Esau in particular because of his wild game he brought home, but Rebekah favored Jacob. Yep, there it is. All right. So one day when Jacob was cooking some stew, so here's Jacob at home cooking some stew. Esau arrived home and he was exhausted and hungry from his hunt. Esau said to Jacob, I'm starved. Give me some of that red stew you've made. It was lentil stew, they say. Lentil stew. I don't know why he called it red. Maybe it just looked red from the beans or whatever. Give me some of that red stew that you made. And then my note here says, this is how Esau got his other name, Edom, meaning red. That's actually in the text in the Bible. This is how he got his other name, Edom. So Esau was also called Edom. By the way, this is where we get Edomite, the great enemy of the Hebrews, the great enemy of Israel were the Edomites for years. And it says, the prophecy before was that these two nations would wage war against each other, and they did. The Edomites and the Israelites were great enemies. Sarah says that Esau had to be a good hunter because he was naturally camouflaged with all the hair. Yeah, it probably looked like a wild animal. Yeah, it was a Bigfoot, right? Says Cheryl's NASB says, but Jacob was a peaceful man living in tents. Okay, being at home. Got it. So Esau comes home. Jacob's making some stew. Esau wants some stew. Jacob says, all right, but trade me your birthright for it. If you want some of this stew I'm making, I want to be the firstborn. I want your birthright. I want all the claim that comes with the birthright. Esau foolishly says, look, I'm dying of starvation anyway, said Esau. What good is my birthright to me now if I die, basically? So Esau lightly and carelessly gave up his birthright for a bowl of stew. I don't understand this. It doesn't make sense to me. The birthright was everything. The birthright entitled you to massive amounts of privilege and land and possessions. Maybe Esau could care less. He just wanted to be out in the woods hunting. I don't know. So Jacob insisted, well then, swear to me right now at this time. So Esau swore an oath, thereby selling all of his rights as the firstborn to the younger brother. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and lentil stew. Esau ate and drank and went on about his business, indifferent to the fact that he had given up his birthright. He didn't care that he gave up his birthright. but they made an oath. And this was actually Jewish law. You could do this. You could give up your birthright in exchange for something else. It's a high price for some stew. Yeah. Yeah, this would probably go down in Esau's book as one of his more stupid decisions for sure. Yeah, that's a good question, Cheryl. Cheryl says if he was such a great hunter, why was he hungry enough to give up his birthright? Maybe he was a great hunter, just not a good cook. Maybe he could bring it home. He just didn't cook it well. Esau and Jacob were interesting. Would be interesting to talk to in heaven. Yeah, these two. That's right. He could kill, but he couldn't figure out how to cook it. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. So Jacob gives up his birthright here, or Esau gives up his birthright here, really for his stomach. I don't think he was dying. I don't think he was going to die of starvation. He was being dramatic. Maybe he was just being sarcastic. What do I care? I wonder if there's a lesson to be learned from I really am not liking Jacob's attitude here either, though. It seems selfish and taking advantage of Esau. Yet, this seems to be the way God wanted it to go. Maybe not. I don't know. But certainly we know that Jacob and God had already told Rebekah that the oldest would serve the youngest, that Jacob would be in charge, that Jacob would be the heir. Basically, the younger was going to be the heir. Interesting that Rebekah favored him all the way through, and I wonder if that's why. His priorities were in the wrong place. Yes. He trusted his brother. Okay. Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but they say, I think he knew how to cook it because his dad bragged about his cooking before he passed away. So he cares about his birthright. He just knew we had it. So why worry with it? It was no big deal. He felt like he was going to be his anyway. Yeah, so this person is saying that they think that, I think this is what they're saying, that Esau felt like he was going to be favored by his dad anyway. He was going to be fine. Fine if you want to claim my birthright. I don't care. Dad's going to take care of me, maybe. Either way, I think it's foolish. And Jacob's heart doesn't sound great here either. What's your takeaway? What can you learn from that? Jennifer says, seriously, he could have found someone to cook it for him if he shared. Yep. Maybe he's impulsive. Esau was impulsive, acted too quickly on his hunger. This is where I'm going with that, Kimberly. I think you're onto something there. That, do we listen to our stomach? Ephesians 5 says about marriage. Ephesians 5 says to love your wife the way you love your own body, for who would not give its body what it needs? Food. That's how powerful hunger can be. It's how powerful the love of food can be. I know this, trying to diet myself, trying to watch Marty made an apple pie yesterday. And I'm trying not to eat sweets and sugars and things, carbs and things like that. But Marty made an apple pie yesterday. I like that. In an instant, I'm like, oh, well, it's an apple pie and it's Marty's. And of course, I'm going to eat a piece of apple pie. There was no part of me that even thought about I shouldn't do that. I'm weak. I'm weak in this area for sure. Maybe Esau didn't want to be the oldest. Lots of responsibility. Maybe so. Alex, good point. I've never liked Jacob's cunningness. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Jacob trusted God. I think Jacob took matters into his own hand a lot, for sure. You're messing with God's plans. God has him come out first, change God's plans. Yep. You don't want to mess with me when I'm hangry. Yeah. It's no excuse, right, Sarah? But yeah. Pat Hicks. Glad you have you with us. If you'll click on the blue. Oh, the person is Pat Hicks. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl, for helping them out. Hanger is for real. Yep. I don't get hangry, but Marty does. Some of you people out there, whenever you're hungry, it changes your demeanor and you're just unsettled and unpleasant until you eat. If Jacob was a trickster, perhaps Esau was just sure, whatever, let's eat. Maybe so. That's me. I have no self-discipline when it comes to food. My takeaway is that we should be neither Jacob or Esau. Neither consulted God before doing what they did, but God fixed it again anyway, like he always does. Yep, that's good. I think both of them were foolish. It certainly appears that way anyway. Makes Jesus fasting for 40 days that powerful and amazing. Yes, Robbie, I think about that a lot. How did he do that? 40 days, no food or water. It's crazy. All right. Well, what's the next? What we got next? Isaac and Abimelech. That's right. So we'll hit Isaac and Abimelech next. Remember Abimelech? Some trouble. Yeah, sissy. You got to feed him. The minute Marty's grumpy and she's been talking about needing to eat, she's grumpy. I just look at her and say, I got to feed you. I got to feed you. And why don't you sit there quietly until I feed you? And she's like, yep, you're right. All right. Let me pray for us today. Thanks for joining in. Pray for my retreat. Starts tonight. We had somebody have to drop out because of COVID, but they're COVID positive. But we'll be meeting tonight, starting tonight through Sunday morning. So I'll be coming to you tomorrow morning from New Braunfels. And then Sunday morning, I'm going to try to work it out where we do it at 8:00, but we're going to do it out at, actually, we'll probably do it at 7:00 Sunday. I know I'm messing with you here, but they have to eat breakfast at 8. So I'm going to offer Bible study to everybody at the retreat. So we may have to do it at 7:00. No, we'll do it at 7:30, probably 30 minutes later. Sunday morning. No, you guys need it probably at 8 if you're going to come. Okay. We're going to say probably 8:00, 8 to 8:30, Sunday morning out at Nuke's Ranch in New Braunfels. I don't know where exactly yet, so tune in tomorrow, probably at our meeting room tomorrow, Sunday morning at 8:00 at Nuke's, but I'll let you know where that is whenever we get there. Yeah, I'll be praying for us. That'd be great. Safe travels, sister, to Dallas this afternoon. My youngest college station to Dallas. All right, Jamie, be praying for you and your travels. Yep, we can do it while we're eating breakfast. Yep, Sarah. We'll have to go somewhere to eat breakfast is the thing. Steve, have any ideas on how the roads are headed down that way? FYI. Emailed you earlier. LOL. Okay, I can't see your name, who you are, but I know how the roads go here. By the time the sun comes up, roads will be clear. It's going to be well above. It's going to be 40-something degrees today. The roads are going to be fine today. No problem at all. And tomorrow is going to be beautiful. Sunshine, mid-50s. It's going to be beautiful tomorrow. But the roads will be fine after the sun comes up for a little bit today. And they're probably fine now, to be honest with you, but I haven't heard anything. They're probably fine now, but for sure, once the sun comes up, you'll do fine. Logan and I still talk about awesome it was the marriage retreat. Yep, Ashley and Logan came. Sarah and JJ came because you and JJ were there. Dallas may not be that way here in San Angelo. We got down to 20 something, so you need to call DPS. Yeah, once the sun's going to come up, the temperature's going to come up, and the roads will clear, and you'll be fine. Yep. All right, let me close this in prayer, and then TikTok, if you guys have any questions, I haven't looked at anything on TikTok today. So if there's anybody still on here waiting to interact with me, I'll be glad to do that with you in just a second. So let me close this in prayer. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for loving us, and thank you for sunshine and ice and snow and cold, all the weather, Lord, it's yours, and we thank you for it. Lord, we lift up everyone watching today. I pray that we would all continue to grow in your word and understand your word, know your word. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless us with peace that comes from knowing you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for sending your son on the cross for our sins. For it's in his name we pray. Amen. All right. Yeah, roads will be bad this morning in some places for sure. Casey wants the babysitter mom traveling to keep my girls from marriage retreat. Yep, Casey's going to be there. Casey and Todd. It's going to be great. All right, TikTok. Did I miss anything? Anybody have questions or comments? We had some good conversation yesterday. Hey, Steve, Bible I ordered for my husband came yesterday. Bless y'all. Highlights, my favorite verses. I love that, Heather. Heather asked for a Bible. We sent her one for her husband, and it got there yesterday. I love it. I love it. Dropped 15 degrees in 90 minutes here. Yeah, that's how it goes. Oklahoma's still icy right now, but will improve. Be safe. Yeah. Oklahoma always gets pelted up, and the panhandle gets pelted. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. But then the sun comes out and clears. All right. Any other questions or comments? I'd love to get my husband a Bible, but I know he won't read it. Christine, get him one anyway. Fill out the form on the TikTok bio, link in my bio, and we'll send you one. And put it by his bed and just see what God might do. Southwest Oklahoma. I used to cut wheat in El Dorado, Oklahoma, just south of Altus, El Dorado, Oklahoma. So right in that area over there. Hi, Marty.
Hey, all the animals' water is totally frozen. I need some help.
Marty needs some help breaking ice this morning. Cows got a drink, chickens got a drink. So she's hoping I'm going to wrap up here. Lawton, Oklahoma. Yep. I grew up in Amarillo, outside of Amarillo. So I know Lawton. Absolutely. He was childishly triggered. Go help her. Yep, I'm about to go help her. I think Esau wanted to be alone, stay in the wilderness. Didn't want to farm or tend livestock. Maybe so. Marty, Heather says thank you for the Bible. Oh, she's already out the door. I think I'll tell her in just a second, Heather. I want to be the oldest child too. I don't want to be the oldest child. Somebody else from Lawton. How about that? You guys can connect up for sure. All right. You guys have a great day. Keep on keeping on TikTok. We'll be back again tomorrow morning, same time. Have a great day. Bye-bye. All right. Looks like I got to go feed some cows and break some ice so the animals have water to drink. You guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.